Fox was also asked about 24, which had just come up, I think we did talk about on the podcast, Kiefer Sutherland having said, implying that, he didn't know if there'd be another season, and we're wondering, is he really trying just for, a good deal? Is right now that's just the mood he's in. But then they actually said...
What's the mood?
What's the mood you're in, Kiefer? They said they are talking about another 24 season, possibly without Jack Bauer.
Yeah, and that was interesting, right? Because you would immediately think, oh, well, if Kiefer's out, it's not going to happen. But they said, look, okay, we're not talking about forever, like doing 24 without Kiefer. Like, he's a creative partner. He's a great creative partner. We talk all the time, yada, yada, yada. He may or may not be included, but what they're talking about is one, again, sort of limited event series that maybe would not include him. And they said that the way that it's being crafted right now and developed right now is that it could go either way. Yeah. It could include Jack Bauer, or he could be left out for one.
It's like Will Smith with Independence Day 2.
Yeah, I mean, but would fans be on board? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it sounds. Initially, of course, they're gonna all say no. We'll see. I mean, I read the story you put up, and they were very careful. What it sounds like to me is they want to do another season for sure.
Yeah.
And he's waffling, and they're like, okay, well, if he won't come back, what if we do this other season without him? It's kind of actually, let's go back. It's also like Jason Bourne. Yeah. It's almost like, then let's do this
tangential story.
And if we can get him back later, there's always room for that, which is now happening.
Which is exactly what they're
Bourne.
doing.
Yeah. So that's what it really sounds like, is that they want this franchise to continue. Right now, he doesn't seem to be in the headspace that he really wants to jump back into it.
Yeah.
And so they're like, okay, well, what if we don't want to be off the air now for several years again? So what if we came back? They said 2016, so it'd be 2 years. It would be 2 years in between. But if they come back next year with a new limited series, that's the Jack Bauer free one, and then hopefully after that, Kiefer's like, okay, now I'm ready to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about, because what they feel like is that the gimmick of the show, they didn't use the word gimmick, but the gimmick of the show, the conceit of the show, in terms of the clock and the ticking clock and things like that, they feel like there's enough around this show that makes it 24 without Kiefer, that it can still work. It's still got that clock. It's still got that conceit. It's still got sort of this unique angle that other people aren't doing. But it won't be 24. Like, it won't be 24 episodes, but it'll be like 11.
But that's what Live Another Day was 12. Although they didn't call that. And like I would bet anything that they'd try to have Chloe in it.
Oh, sure.
It's like they do everything they can to have like.
Well, they talked about that. They talked about the ancillary characters would still be there. Yeah.
But also they have to deal with, at least in some dialogue, unlike Bourne. The thing with Bourne is that Bourne had a pretty good ending. Like, his story, like by the end of that third movie, it's like, we don't need another Bourne movie. I hope the new one's good with him. I'm just saying we don't need it. Whereas as we mentioned, 24 did leave on much more of like what will happen to Jack, his like future, like he is in danger. And so that being the case, if they do a season without him, like they kind of have to, at least I'm sure the crisis will be basically take over, but they'll probably have some mention of like
I think that
Jack
they would
Bauer,
probably like periodically make mention of like, it's crazy what's going on with Jack. Anyway, bombs. Like.
Yeah.
I think that's how that would be handled.
Yeah. So I do think, even though I understand that gut instinct of like, no, Kiefer is 24. I think the way they want to do it again has another sort of one-off, not back as like a weekly 22 episode show. It could work. It's going to be tough though. Like they have to get someone really strong for the lead, and enough of the other characters to make people feel comforted.
Yeah.
And if they can get Kiefer to do a cameo, all the better.
All the better for everybody. I think that because then that's rest for him, but still fans kind of will. I
think in their perfect world, he just says yes, I'll be back for this next one. But if they couldn't, there's a tease at the end. Yeah. Like he's in it. Like like he shows up. Or like they're showing a video of like, now we need you to go to Russia, It's like, and then unlike Bourne, which they basically said we're not doing the Aaron Cross Bourne team up. Like this, I could see much more naturally leading to that.
Yeah,
like, it's like,
they're not doing it now.
They're not doing it. Yeah, but I think because really because it doesn't sound like Damon wants to. But I think with 24, because Kiefer is very part of it and is a producer. Yeah. I think,
I don't think Damon does want to.
And I still think,
But I think
Jack Bauer will be back. I think one day Jack Bauer will be back, ultimately.
Jack Bauer will be back.
Jack Bauer will return. Yeah.